Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Stephen. I want to talk briefly about how we navigate transitions. I'm going to give us 3 recommendations for how we can tackle the navigation of a transition. So, first, let's recognize that all of us experience transitions. Transitions are common to all of us. Some of them we welcome, some of them we don't expect, others of them we expect them, but yet we may still grapple with how we're adjusting to that transition. I'm going to propose to you or recommend to you 3 things to do as you navigate a transition. First, I want to encourage you to keep your cool. Keep your cool in the transition. Don't lose your head, particularly if the transition isn't something that you wanted or didn't expect. There are multiple perspectives when it comes to a transition that is impacting you. So keep that in mind. Of course, you're concerned about your perspective, but remembering that there are multiple perspectives and multiple details connected to the cause for or the reason for that transition will help you keep your cool. And instead of being overly discontent about having to face it, you can adjust yourself and say, wait, this is not just impacting me, this actually may be impacting others. Or, I wonder why this is happening. Let me see what I can find out about why it's happening. And even if I can't change it, having a little clarity would help me better understand how to move forward. There are instances, however, where you will not have additional information about the transition. You will just know that it's happening. And so you still want to keep your cool, particularly in relationship-oriented shifts. Because if it happens in your workplace, you want to make sure that you remain professional, that you remain courteous, that you remain respectful, and that you don't burn bridges. Essentially, you want to ensure that in the midst of that transition, you don't lose what it means to be a professional, to be accountable, to be responsible, to be respectful in the midst of that change, because you never know when you'll need that relationship in the future. Or, quite frankly, when you will be the the one who benefits someone else in that relationship down the line. I have had, over the last few years, a variety of encounters with people from my past who I am now in a position to be a blessing or of service to them. Some of these people treated me well, others of them not too well, but I remain professional and studious, kind, engaging, thoughtful in my interaction with them in the past, even when the transitions were not in my favor, because I had the first obligation of myself and how I represented who I was in those spaces. So keep your cool. The second thing I'm going to encourage you to do is speak up and ask for support. When you're facing a transition, being silent about the experience will not help you navigate it any better. If you lost a job or suddenly became a parent, and becoming a parent after you were planning on being an empty nester at that phase in your life, maybe it was something a family member needed to move in with you so you can support the care of that family member. Those are transitions that happen in life. Many people have experienced it. You might be experiencing it for the first time. It's important that you seek support, that you don't allow yourself to navigate that transition without elevating your voice, communicating what you're experiencing, and specifically the kind of support you need so that you can navigate it effectively. There have been people who walked that path before, pleasant or unpleasant, and you raising your voice and asking for support allows you to gain the wisdom of their experience. It also allows you to communicate feelings and thoughts that are going through your mind and that you are experiencing, so you recognize that there's other people in the room, so to speak, who have walked that path and can be a resource for you. So don't remain silent. Speak up and ask for support. So one, keep your cool, be professional, be kind, be courteous, be warm, be flexible in that moment, recognizing there's multiple perspectives. Two, seek support. Seek support because there are other people who have navigated that experience or something like it before, and you don't have to unpack it and digest that experience, so to speak, alone. The third I'm going to encourage you to do is pray for wisdom. Now, if you have a biblical worldview, this may make perfect sense to you. For others, you may be wondering, what do I mean? Well, there's a passage in the Bible, Jeremiah 33:3, that says, "Call upon me, and I will answer, and I will show you things, unsearchable things you don't know." What does that mean? There is wisdom that comes when we talk to God about a particular situation. Whatever the transition is, bringing it to God and asking Him to show you what this is all about, to give you insight about what this is all about, will enable you to get God's perspective, not just your perspective. You were created to be an impactful individual within the context of the world, which means you are not designed and are not living just for yourself. Your life will impact other people directly and indirectly, intentionally and unintentionally. The difference is when you're entering a space or a transition or something that you haven't experienced before, pausing to pray and ask God, hey, God says it, call upon me and I will show you great and mighty things. Another passage says, unsearchable things you don't know, meaning what's unknown, I can make known to you if you ask me about the situation, if you come and talk to me about the situation. So prayer is also a very important action to take when you're experiencing or navigating a transition. So the human thing is to keep your cool. Keep your wits about you. Recognize there's multiple perspectives. The second is to ask for support. Don't allow yourself to experience this in isolation, because there are other people with lived out wisdom from their experiences that they can impart to you that could be helpful. And then it's important for you to pray. The ultimate designer and author of your life is God Himself, which means when we go to Him about a specific situation or transition, we can also anticipate His ability to give us understanding about a context, about a situation, about the transition that we may not as necessarily in our initial human thinking have a sense of why it's happening. But Scripture is clear. Unsearchable things, meaning things you can't go looking for on your own. Only God can reveal them to you. And that's one of the great benefits of having a relationship with the Lord, is that you don't have to spend your life and your days feeling around for an answer. God is ready to respond and to give us insight and clarity about even transitions that we find unwelcoming if we call on Him and ask Him for that support. So I hope this was helpful for you today. Whatever lens and transition you're experiencing, one that you are excited about or one you're not too excited about, my prayer for you is that you are able to take a hold of some of these principles that I shared with you and utilize them so that you can do what I encourage people to do each and every day, and that is to take care and live.